Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Fifth Dimension. We're here with a power-packed show when it comes to the future of Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, and Square Enix projects when it comes to Final Fantasy 16 DLC, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, and of course, Kingdom Hearts 4, among other things. And for this show, we have two amazing special guests, two great friends, awesome content creators. Everyone, please join me in welcoming, first and foremost, Audrey, aka Aitai Kimochi. How are you doing today?
Hey everyone, thanks so much for letting me back on the Fifth Dimension HMK. Super excited to be back to talk about FF7 and Kingdom Hearts. Hi everyone, once again.
We are so grateful to have you. Thank you so much for being back on the show.
Of course. No, thank you. It's always an honor.
Oh, thank you. And now, last but not least, a fellow keykeeper and amazing content creator. Everyone, please welcome Sarahkey. How you doing today?
I'm really good, and I'm really excited to be back. So yeah, thanks for having me. Hello.
Of course. So, Sarah and Audrey, first and foremost, we gotta talk about some elephants in the room before we get into the whole thing, because we're just gonna gush. You know, like the structure. What is structure in the Fifth Dimension? All right. First and foremost, we have all been... Actually, wait, before I get into anything else, I should say an addendum for everyone in the chat. We will not be talking about Final Fantasy 16, The Rising Tide, because we have some guests here who haven't completed the DLC completely, so we're going to refrain from doing that. But everything else is going to be fair game. Speaking of fair game, I'm going to throw the ball over to Sarah first. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. We all beat it. How do you feel about it? Talk to me.
It was amazing. I am sad it's over, and
you know,
I put over 100 hours into it. So yeah, I love it. I love it so much. I think it's so much better than Remake. And I love Remake. It's one of my favorite games, but I feel like it's like an elevated version, and yeah, I miss it.
Me too. It's crazy because, you know, I love Remake too. And, you know, that's not going without saying that Remake has issues, because it did. But, like, all of the good components of Remake just severely outshined the bad in Remake. And the bad with Remake, it comes to, like, side quest structure, a bit of the linearity. And if you want to, you know, nitpick some of the graphics when it comes to, like, the hotel doors and whatever, like, okay, whatever. But everything... good in that game. The voice acting, the music, the combat, the graphics, like when we're in it to win it. The story, like, yes, I like the story. It was so good. And then we get to Rebirth, and it just makes Remake looks like I have no love lost for Remake, but playing Rebirth just made Remake feel so... I don't want to use the word inferior, but man, just like Rebirth just perfected everything, every problem I had with Remake. It's honestly insane that, you know, considering as much as we knew from Rebirth, that Square Enix was able to release something of this caliber. And that's nothing against Square Enix, because I love Square Enix. Just like, dang, you had this dog in you? That's wild. Ugh. All right, I gushed a little too long. I want to throw the same question over to Audrey. Now that we've all beaten Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, how are we feeling? Talk to me.
I like you said, like you guys said, I do like Rebirth a lot. But I think like in terms of story, I preferred Remake because it was more. I guess I think Remake left a bigger impression on me than Rebirth, because it was just, we didn't know what to expect at all, right? But Remake already made the formula, so when I played Rebirth, I was like, oh, okay, it's like kind of the same thing. Like there was no moment where I was like just like pausing and like, I didn't stream Remake when it came out, but like when I played that game, every chapter I was like crying because it was just so good nostalgia wise.
Right.
And Rebirth, I didn't have that as much, because it was like I kind of already expected like already knew what to expect, I guess. I mean, it was a great game. I think Rebirth is definitely a better game in terms of like gameplay, character interaction. The music was freaking amazing.
Oh
But
yeah,
Remake for me, I think I liked more than Rebirth as I guess like a story side, because it was like
gotcha.
just something that like no one knew what was gonna happen, right? And we're like, oh, is this like a sequel, or is this like a prequel? Oh, not a prequel, but like, is this like in line? It's actually a remake or whatever. Like everything was all up in the air. But then after that was kind of like answered in the Ultimanias and stuff like that. Then after playing Rebirth, I was like, oh, okay, well, I can kind of see where this is going. But yeah, it was like both games are great, but yeah, I do agree. Remake has its own problems, but like, yeah, I think Rebirth, like, it is definitely on par, if not better, with like gameplay and, like I mentioned, like character interactions and stuff. But Remake, I think, left a better impression on me.
Gotcha. And no, I definitely understand because that I feel that's the double-edged sword and the burden of like games when it comes to like it being the first of a series or a sub-series or a trilogy, and that's definitely what Remake is, the Remake project. We have Remake, Rebirth, and then if you want to count it, Reunion, but Reunion was just to like, get people up to speed with Crisis Core, and or for them to know what's going down with Rebirth. But I definitely get that because Remake had a lot of the mystique, around it. And then when you get to Rebirth, like a lot of the stuff is both established from the original game and from Remake. It makes you wonder, like, okay, what avenues are they going to explore that is familiar or unfamiliar, considering how they done it already in Remake. So Remake really did set the standard, and there was I want to word this probably like there wasn't that much left to the imagination when it came to Rebirth's story, other than the big like thing that happened at the end. I mean, we will beat the game. Spoilers, sorry. Yeah, Aerith's death. That was like the one thing that everybody was like, okay, how's Rebirth gonna do it? And I've seen like a lot of conflicting ideas and reactions to that. So we're gonna segue into that question before we move on from Final Fantasy to Kingdom Hearts, because we're gonna be flip-flopping throughout the entire stream.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So I'm gonna throw that over to Audrey first. How did you feel about how they tackled Aerith's death in Rebirth?
Yeah, I think that part of the reason why I like Remake more is because, like, at the end of the game, that you were left with questions, but it felt like kind of like, oh, okay, well, that was a game, and like there's another game next, and like there was nothing that was. I thought it ended very well. Like it was not as confusing. FF7 Rebirth's ending was way too confusing. That I feel like it was confusing for the sake of being confusing so people can talk about it, but as a result it kind of sacrificed like emotional impact, which I was kind of like, when I was playing it, I was just like, okay, like what the hell's going on, guys? Like I'm so confused. Like that part was really like I guess like it left such a big like, I don't know, like hole, like it's like that is not filled, that like I was just like, I don't know, like I'm having mixed feelings about the ending.
Right. Now, and I definitely understand, because like, it is a polarizing approach to what is established in the ending. And a lot of people said that because of what they did, it sandbagged the emotional impact, which I get to a degree. And I get what you're saying because you explained it. When a lot of people just say, oh, it sandbagged the emotional impact, I'm like, okay, explain. And then they don't. And I'm like, you see, you can't really say that unless you have something to explain, but you did, which I definitely appreciate.
I think,
go ahead.
just like in general, the execution of it was just too confusing. But like, I get that there's going to be a part 3, so they want to make a cliffhanger, but it could have been a little bit better. Like they could have, for example, like stayed on the scene more instead of flipping back and forth with like the, I don't know, flashbacks, or I think Nomura said it was like called flashbacks. And I feel like if they could have done the exact same thing, just like didn't put so much like cuts in between to make you feel disoriented. I feel like that would have been better, but yeah.
Right. And I feel like the reason why I like personally, I don't feel as slighted with the idea of how they tackled Aerith's death in this game when it was like, oh, emotional. But it's still emotional to me because, I mean, like, a big part of the emotion for me is the pre-existing context. Like, you know it's coming. We're here. You know, Aerith has the white materia. She's praying. Sephiroth's in the sky. He's coming down. But then, you know, the emotion in my point of view is that Cloud did his best to prevent what we saw as a canon event from the original back in 1997. And despite his efforts, like, and that was like the big mystery, I guess, like the developers wants to talk about and whatnot. And I remember reading some of the translations you did for the Ultimania that, you know, is she dead? Is she alive? There's like different perspectives to that. And what does Cloud believe? Because like it's pretty much established in the game that pretty much everyone else in the party saw and know her to be dead, while Cloud doesn't. And then that makes you wonder, is Cloud crazy? Is he going through some sort of mental trauma that is not allowing him to accept the fact that she possibly could have died? But then we have Aerith Prime that showed up in the final battle. And I'm like, okay, so there's a lot of questions, but I felt that the impact wasn't as lost on me as other people because of what we knew beforehand. And the only thing I wished is that, like, yeah, there was blood. Yeah, it was emotional. But they kind of did like the whole, like, oh, okay, you know, this shot right here, this shot right here. You're not going to show the whole body shot of Sephiroth like stabbing Aerith. And that does sound kind of macabre. But I mean, like, that's what we saw in 1997. So I was kind of like, okay, maybe like, I'm never one to be like, oh, it's not graphic enough. But I mean, for this particular scene, I'm like, I wish it was a little bit more graphic. But
and even I mean, like, because it doesn't make sense. Because like after a couple fights later, you're fighting Sephiroth with Aerith, and he literally stabs you and like, you know, makes you into like a kebab. So
yeah.
So I mean, if they can show that, then what's the problem?
Exactly. You know, like, you know, avid children reference. Let's go. Like,
exactly. I was like,
it's weird. It's weird. I mean, it's funny because, like, now that you bring that up, it's like we saw, like, Sephiroth stab the president, stab Barrett, like, straight up. But then, like, Aerith is like, nah, Aerith, we can't do that. It's bad for business. But before we get too carried away, I want to throw the question over to Sarah. How are we feeling on how they approach Aerith's death in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
I have, like, mixed emotions.
Let's go. Let them out. Let them out.
I mean, I overall don't really have too many complaints about Rebirth, especially because we don't really know what's going to happen in the third part. But I do kind of agree with Audrey that it was a little confusing. Like, and I think it's like it did make me less emotional than I think I could have been. And honestly, I definitely like crying to games. Like I like when a game makes me feel things, and I mean, it did make me feel things for sure. But also, like, I am just like a huge Zack fan, so if anything, like that stuff, I was more concerned about.
That was fan service up the wazoo.
Yeah. But I still don't even understand what was going on with that, and I just want more answers. I think that's all. I think, like, I feel very satisfied with the game. I think it's just that it's hard because I just want part 3 now. Like, I think that's what they wanted. They probably want you to feel that way.
2027.
But I guess I just have a lot of questions. But I overall really enjoyed the ending, I would say. But yeah, I definitely am yearning for more info.
Man, like, now that you brought that up about like crying at video games, you know what's the last video game I cried at? Take a wild guess.
FF16.
God damn it! You know what? I did, and I was trying to set. I was. You know what? I'm gonna set up the joke anyways. Yes, it was Final Fantasy 16. I bawled at the end because Clive Benstar is an amazing actor. I cried at Tears of the Kingdom, which Audrey didn't beat yet.
I know. I need to. One of these days, I will. It's such a big game.
It's like, that's the conversation we're gonna have later. But yeah, so I definitely get what you're both saying about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. How it's like very confusing and whatnot. And then like from what I gathered, I don't know if there was more that you were able to translate after I read that, Audrey, but from what I gathered, for the most part, in the ultimatums are like, hey, so you're gonna explain this? Like, find out in part 3. That's what I kind of gathered from the most part of the ultimania. Or unless they added more stuff to it.
Yeah, I mean, like they did. Nomura said. I mean, it's just like kind of like conflicting stuff because like there's the dev interviews and there's also like the Ultimania, like written by some other like whoever third party, or if it's like someone in Square Enix responsible for writing Ultimanias. But it's like in the book it says like, oh, we don't know what happens to Aerith because it's like all up in the air or something like that. And then Nomura is like yeah, actually like things will happen in part 3 that will answer your questions. But like he's like, oh, but like FF7 for that like particular scene was about like just like loss, like suddenly like losing someone important, and then in FF7 Rebirth it's like trying not accepting that you're losing someone important. So it's kind of like that kind of hints like, okay, so she probably is dead, right? Question mark. And then they come back and they're like, oh, but actually like you'll find out more in part 3 with blah blah blah. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I get like they want to keep you like guessing, but I feel like they should have just committed, like
right.
Yeah.
even if she was dead, like I'm sure she could do stuff in part 3 that like it's not like they're gonna just like have her leave and then she doesn't come back ever. So it was a little like, I don't know, for me I was just kind of like, I feel like at least one of her people, like whatever, like conscience or whatever people interpret it's like,
I have a theory,
like live stream or whatever.
I have a theory. In part 3, Aerith is gonna be playable because I mean there's too much like the way they're structuring the remake series. Like, she's not gonna be playable in Cloud's party. Aerith Prime, who we saw at the end of the game, she's gonna be in Zack's party, and Zack is gonna be the Riku of the dream job. This is Riku of part 3.
Sick.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He's gonna have his own story within the story, and Aerith is gonna be his partner, and the shipping is going to go insane.
Yeah, that's the problem. Oh my god.
Oh man, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, man.
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure they wouldn't like not have them both be playable.
Right? I've played too much of Aerith in remake and rebirth just to have her playstyle thrown away.
Exactly.
Right?
No, I get that.
Nah. This ain't 1997 no more. But speaking of dream job, this is in Riku. I think it's time to shift gears over to Kingdom Hearts. Now, recently, the 2-year anniversary of the 20th anniversary and the 20th anniversary event has passed, and we have yet to get a update on Kingdom Hearts 4 in the regards of getting a new trailer, even though we've had whispers about Kingdom Hearts 4 throughout the year, just like here and there, just like at the very least, the project is alive. Nomura brought it up, Tayasui brought it up at various interviews that are not related to Kingdom Hearts. So when people are saying, oh, Kingdom Hearts 4 is dead, I'm like, nah, they're probably just working furiously on it behind the scenes. But before we talk about Kingdom Hearts 4, what we did get news on is Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, which is going to have its first Android beta on the 2nd of May all the way to the 10th of May. And they also announced that another iOS beta is going to happen alongside concurrently. I think it's unknown at this point if they're going to test connectivity yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. But like the previous beta, it's only going to be available to Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. So in that regard, I'm going to throw the ball over to Audrey, who is staying in Japan. I don't know if I asked you this last time that we spoke. Do you have an iPhone or an Android?
Oh, I played the iPhone beta in
iPhone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I have an iPhone.
What? Android people?
iPhone, like Mac.
It's fine. You guys have the emulator, the Delta emulator. We don't yet. I'm an Android user. All right, so So Audrey, you do have iOS, but you don't have an Android phone just lying around for like business purposes that you could try it on.
I do have an Android phone running, like lying around, but I don't know if it's good enough to handle the graphics because it was just kind of like we have it for business purposes.
Gotcha.
Like I don't know. I did play the beta in I think it was November.
It was a minute ago, like almost 5 months, I think 5 or 6 months.
Yeah. And then during that time, they already had like everything, like the GPS, like going to the fighting the shadows. The Heartless. Like when you get to certain points, on the map and stuff like that. And it was funny because when I was playing it, I went from my place like around Yokohama area to Shibuya, and I just had my character like walk there.
Nice.
Like technically you can use the GPS and go there, but I was like, it was like midnight, so I just wanted my character to walk there, and it actually took like a good 20 minutes to get the character to walk to Shibuya from Yokohama, which actually kind of like equals the distance that you would have to it will take to use a train to go from Yokohama to Shibuya. Which is like kind of realistic. Yeah, it was interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that I didn't read too much into it. So for those that participate in the previous beta, do you get access again, or you have to apply again?
I think you have to apply again. I didn't apply again because I did not see the application for the iOS. I only saw the Android one.
Right.
So I'm not sure.
So maybe they're like, okay, iOS people don't have to like apply because maybe they'll update the app that you have already on the phone.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's called the app was called
the CBT.
Yeah, CBT. And it was like for test flight or something like that.
Nice. Man, I'm so like talking about missing link. Now that we know that the Android and the iOS, because like it was originally, let's say that it was only going to be the Android beta that happened after iPhone because iPhone privileges. But now that we have another iOS beta coming up, I honestly feel that this is going to be the last beta before the game actually releases, because Nomura has said on interview before that, when we do plan on releasing the game, which is like 2024, they confirmed that we're going to release it around time that's warm, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, at first I was all like, okay, spring is warm in some places, especially down here, right? But it's looking like it might be summer. I feel like after this beta test, the game will be finally out and about. And in that regard, let me throw it over to Sarah real quick, just in the idea, because Audrey's already played it, right? But us living in the States, we don't have that luxury and whatnot. So Sarah, how are we feeling? Are you excited for Miss Link? Because personally, I am itching for that game. Like,
yeah, I miss the Union Cross days a lot.
Oh my god, me too.
So even though obviously I'm more interested in like the main titles, I still like the mobile games, and I think it's a good way for us to still have like consistent Kingdom Hearts in our lives without like having to wait. So I just love like when the community comes together and everyone gets excited about the story, and I'm just really excited to make my character, and I'm just really excited. I can't wait.
It's funny that you brought that up because, a lot of people, because honestly, at this point in Kingdom Hearts' longevity in its like series in terms of game releases, news releases, stuff like that, for the most part, we've relatively been eating good, especially compared to other video game series. But at this point in time, it is a dry spell because we're always used to release like either every year or every other year, and then news talking about said releases going on and whatnot. But now, Kingdom Hearts 4 and Missing Link are still in the wind. The last release we ever got, like if you want to count like a physical release, was Melody of Memory. If you want to count Dark Road, you can count that as well. But still, those two came like far in between to where we are now. And I felt that not only because of the constant slew of information and releases that we've had throughout 20 years of Kingdom Hearts, but when Union Cross was active, that helped circumvent a lot of the wait time because the Kingdom Hearts community and everyone who loved Kingdom Hearts and was playing Union Cross has something to talk about in terms of not only the story, but the gameplay, the raids, the Union. Like, oh, Vulpes is still number 1. All right, let's see who can fight for number 2. Oh, look, it's Unicornus again. So who's fighting for number 3? Leopardus, and then in 1 month Anguius gets over, and I'm like, whoa, we cannot let this happen. We need to fight for our bronze medal. So like the community was hella active during Union Cross, and I feel that a lot of people that, 1, didn't play Union Cross, and 2, didn't realize how good we had it up until Union Cross shut down. Is just like this dry spell feels a lot more drier because we don't have that. So when you brought up the fact that like, oh, I miss the Union Cross days, missing Link, it can get the community like up and active again. Like a lot of people don't understand how good we had it, really, and that's why I'm like, missing Link is gonna help that a lot because I always like to play on the side of optimism, and I try to stay positive, especially when it comes to Kingdom Hearts and whatnot. And I'm always like, okay, if it ain't this year, it's next year for like, the next big numbered title. I did it for Kingdom Hearts 3 for like years, and I'm doing it for Kingdom Hearts 4. I'm like, Kingdom Hearts 4, definitely next year. What I'm trying to say is that we have no idea when Kingdom Hearts 4 could possibly release. We're just going off of what we know and reading the terrain. And honestly, I'm thinking like, 2025 may be something, maybe feasible. But even if it isn't 2025, if it's 2026 or even beyond that, please, Lord, no. When Missing Link comes out, it'll feel a lot less rough waiting for Kingdom Hearts 4. And I know a lot of people are really, what's the word? They're really abrasive to the idea of mobile games and whatnot. But we've seen how Missing Link plays in trailers. We've heard how Missing Link plays in the hands of people who had the beta and whatnot. We've seen controller support. And the game looks really, really good. It looks like it plays phenomenally, and it plays like a Kingdom Hearts game that you expect on console. If you were a fan of like the command deck from Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, recoded, whatever, it plays a bit like that you could shortcut the chess pieces and their abilities to certain buttons if you decide to use control support. So I'm honestly excited for Missing Link, and people need to just give it a shot. Give it a shot. I understand it's a gacha game, but please.
Almost everyone has a smartphone, so it's very accessible.
Do y'all not have phones? The Diablo Immortal thing. But let's go ahead and throw the ball over to Audrey. When it comes to how your previous experience with Missing Link and the fact that it's coming out this year, what are your excitement levels right now for Missing Link? And do you think what are we thinking? Summer? What are we thinking? Autumn, winter? What are we thinking?
I think summer makes sense. Because it's already almost May, and they're just doing the beta test in May, right? Because at first I thought it was going to come out around May. That's when it's pretty warm, or gets warm in Japan, and it's not rainy season. But now that I'm thinking about it, they probably will do it after rainy season, which is in June. So maybe July or August, when it's a bit warmer. I mean, at that time it'll be freaking hot as shit, but in Japan, and it gets so humid around that time. But I think it's definitely, I don't think it's going to come out right after the beta test, because that's the whole point, right? They're testing. So I think probably June or no, not June, July would be the most feasible.
I'm honestly hoping for June, because I something in my gut tells me that this is just the training wheels falling off type test, because I remember, and here's the thing, Ever Crisis plays completely different than Missing Link, but I remember when I was part of the closed beta for Ever Crisis, and then the full game came out 2 weeks after that. And I'm like, all right, let's go. But then I'm like, my progress, it doesn't transfer. So I had to start from scratch, which is fine because I still play Ever Crisis to this day. Which, sidebar, Audrey, I know you play Ever Crisis. Yes. Sarah, do you play Ever Crisis?
Yeah, I haven't in a bit, but I was playing it quite a bit. Yeah. Nice.
I play that religiously now. It's so good. And it's crazy? The game, it's very, very, very generous. in terms of its blue crystals and stuff. So like I almost never put money in the game. The only time I ever put money in the game was for season passes in order to get, you know, the frames and whatnot. And I'm collecting all the Tifa outfits because, you know, I'm Tifa worship trash. So, you know, anything for my goddess. So considering that about Ever Crisis, that's why I really hope that once this closed beta test is over, we wouldn't have maybe like, if not 2 weeks, then a month. But then Missing Link is definitely a way different. Like it's a whole other beast compared to how Ever Crisis plays. You know, so like it's like very much an action RPG. It's real time. It's all that stuff because, you know, Ever Crisis is like still ATB. But here's hoping, because everything that we've learned from the closed beta for Missing Link it just sounds astounding. You know, the fact that you're able to customize your outfits to almost any degree, like off rip, it's just it's insane to me. And then the different types of keyblade, the range, the close range keyblades, and all the pieces that we can collect. It just, I'm honestly excited for Missing Link. And then Missing Link might go on for like a good amount of time because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Kingdom Hearts Key on browser came out 2013 and then ended as Union Cross in 2018, right? So that was like maybe 2019, 5-6 years it was active, right? So I'm hoping that Missing Link will be active around the same amount of time.
Oh, 6 years! Wow, that's a pretty long time, I think. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like it would be great if they like were able to continuously update Missing Link like what they did for Union Cross, right? So you just never have that dry spell.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, it makes me sad seeing games that I've played so much when it comes to Square Enix just shut down, like not out of nowhere, but they shut down because like I loved Union Cross and the story was over, so I get it. But then having Dissidia Opera Omnia shut down, I'm like, oh my god, that game was going on forever, and it shut down. Is Brave Exvius still going on?
Yeah, that one's still going on.
All right, cool. I probably gonna have to get up on that. But enough talk about Missing Link. We're gonna talk about Missing Link. We're back and forth Missing Link. Missing Link, the final chapter in the Key Saga. Speaking of sagas, the new Lost Master arc, the beginning of that arc, Kingdom Hearts 4. Audrey and Sarah, let's talk about Kingdom Hearts 4. So I'm gonna throw the ball over to Sarah right now because like it's been 2 years since we saw that glorious trailer. We know only so much about the game. Sora's stuck in Quadratum. He's fighting this big dark side in Shibuya near the Hikari. And we see Strelitzia there. All right, there you go. Let's hyper focus on that because I always want to talk about this, just like, you know, gush about it. I find it so crazy. Yeah, we're gonna talk about these components, Audrey and Sarah. So first, Sarah, the components of the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer. First of all, the trailer was so dark compared to what we know. Like Kingdom Hearts gets dark. Like just before anyone tried to say like, oh, what do you mean Kingdom Hearts gets dark? It's like, yes, it does, but I mean like, this is a level of darkness we haven't seen explored in Kingdom Hearts when it comes to the realism, the graphics, because of course Sora is stuck in Quadratum. But let's talk about those concepts because a lot of people have played Kingdom Hearts just simply 1, 2, and 3, and then a lot of the time they're from the outside looking in. So when a lot of people, they are like, I know what Kingdom Hearts is, Sora, but then they see this trailer, it's like, why Sora looks like he's in a Final Fantasy game? Why is he in the real world Tokyo? Who is Strelitzia, right? Like, let's talk about all of those things, like, compared to us that, like, have been keeping up with that. How did y'all feel when, like, we actually saw Sora in Quadratum, in the graphical style that was beyond that of what we saw with the Verum Rex trailer, beyond that of what we saw in Remind, and the fact that Strelitzia that we all thought obviously met her end in Union Cross, but then it's heavily implied that she might be the true Dandelion. Sarah, just all right. I threw all that at you, like, come on, like make a meal out of it. Like there, I gave you the ingredients. Put in the oven.
Okay. The Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer for me is like one of the best trailers I've ever experienced.
Right?
And I think it's because I think the reason is because like it wasn't that long after Kingdom Hearts 3 and like Remind. So it's just like I just felt like it's just like almost unbelievable. It's like, oh my god, we're already getting to see a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4. And I think it's also like the fact that it was on the anniversary and everyone was just like waiting and hoping that they would release this trailer.
Yeah.
And I remember people not believing me when I was like,
they were like,
they're gonna
they're
release
saying,
it.
they're
Like,
saying that, oh, it's not gonna happen. Why are you guys staying up, bro? We're not gonna see a trailer. I'm like, ha,
Yeah.
suck it.
I'm like, yes, they are. 20th anniversary is huge. Like, of course they're gonna do something. So I just feel like just all the hype behind it, everything, just one of the best trailers I've ever experienced. But like seeing Sora in Quadratum with Strelitzia was so like that like broke my brain. I'm like, I cannot believe that they're actually tying Strelitzia into this story now. And I think it's really cool. And I'm just really excited to see everything in Quadratum. Like I'm really curious how they're gonna do the Disney worlds and like how Sora's gonna travel if he's like stuck in Quadratum. I don't know. It's a lot. I'm I'm trying to make the meal here. My brain it's chaotic.
She's like, where's the pepper? Where's the salt? Like
I just really want Kingdom Hearts 4. I'm so excited.
I know.
Yeah.
Me too. I see someone in the chat, and I do want to say that I will be fine with that 100%. So Maxie in the chat said, no more gummy ship. I will be fine. If Kingdom Hearts 4 has no gummy ship, I'm good. If they decide to do it a different way, like whatever. But people are like, but numbered games always has gummy ships. What do you mean?
What
like,
about a gummy car? A gummy car?
No. Sarah, you're playing a dangerous game there. I don't want no Kingdom Carts. I don't want no Disney cars.
Yes!
No. Little Lightning McQueen in my Kingdom Hearts.
Come on.
Give me a gummy train. We're in Quadratum. We're in Tokyo. A gummy train. Man.
Okay.
Easy. But with all that considered, I do want to bring up something that I found really endearing, which I feel that Audrey could speak upon that after I say my point, is that when I went back and watched the recap video for the Kingdom Hearts 20th anniversary event that happened in the Shibuya Hikari building, in comparison to everyone else that didn't play Union Cross or didn't play anything, who didn't play the DLC of Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts Remind, and all that stuff, they don't know who Brain is. They don't know who Strelitzia is. They don't know about Quadratum. But then when I saw the recap video and everyone in Japan reacting to seeing Brain in Missing Link, they're like, oh, I was like, of course they know who Brain is. They're all playing Union Cross, right? And then them, like, they reacted hard to Brain and they reacted hard to Strelitzia. I'm like, yes. Oh, they know. So, like, that was me. And then people were like, who's this? Who's this girl with the long orange hair? Who is she? And I'm like, you don't know about Strelitzia. You don't know about Brain. And they're like, oh, I have to play the mobile games? I'm like, yes, please. Right. So, Audrey, tell me how you felt like seeing those components that I would say, quote unquote, casual Kingdom Hearts fans, like that kind of stuff will go over their heads. How did you feel when you saw those components within the trailers of Missing Link and Kingdom Hearts 4 during the 20th anniversary?
Oh, I mean, like, yeah, I knew who Brain was. So I, like, when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, it's the guy from the mobile game. But I didn't actually play Union Cross. Like, I stopped at a certain point, and I actually, like, did not get to the story part where Brain and Skull come out. So
really?
I just kind of like watched that, like, bits and pieces on YouTube.
Oh, but that's fine because you did the homework regardless.
Oh, you know, yeah. I kind of knew who they were. I just didn't like know how like the entire thing plays out. You know, like in if you're like playing the game. But when I watched the trailer, I was like, oh man, like this is freaking awesome. So then they're gonna use the mobile game to explain like other elements of, you know, like the story, which like obviously if you're not if you're like a casual player, it's kind of, I guess, like a hurdle, right? That you
Mhm.
have to kind of figure out what's going on. But I feel like in Japan, most like fans play everything.
Yeah.
They know everything, and they're very familiar with like, okay, this is like from, Union Cross, or this is from whatever expansion and etc. Like or Kingdom Hearts, like 2.8 even, like, or the final mixes or whatever, like people, like I think most people know about that in Japan. In the West, I'm not too sure. I feel like there's more casual players, but like yeah, Japanese fans are very, very like hardcore when it comes
Mhm.
to like being able to play every single game that for a certain series that they like.
Right.
So that's why I feel like there was not as much of a like, huh, who's that
Yeah.
kind of reaction,
Yeah.
And there's another thing, like I feel that there's a very big like abrasion to the concept of mobile games in the West, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, like there's a huge stigma of that over here. But hey, man, like it's fun to me. It's fun. I have a good time with other people. You know, whatever. If it's fun, and if I feel that I'm not breaking the bank, I am willing to spend my hard-earned money on components of this game. But with that considered, let's dial it back to Kingdom Hearts 4 and the concept of Quadratum as another thing that went over a lot of people's heads, because a lot of people did not play Remind, right? And a lot of people, in terms of casual fans, did not get the secret ending, so they have no idea about Quadratum. No idea, like, because for the longest we were just calling Shibuya, right? Because I mean, lack of a better
Yeah.
term, if you see the 104 building, like, come on, it's Shibuya, right? And then with Riku being from the Tokyo government. All right, so Audrey, correct me, because I keep saying, and I feel like I get the placement of the words wrong. I keep calling it the Tokyo Government Metropolitan Building.
I think it's the Tokyo Metropolitan Government
Okay,
Building.
Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building. Gotcha.
Yeah.
The building that the castle in Insomnia is modeled after. So when I saw him there, I'm like, holy shit! All right, Shinjuku. Holy shit, Shibuya. Right? I'm like, oh, we're in Japan. But then when people saw the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer for the first time, that didn't play Reminder or anything like that, I was like, why? What is he doing here? I'm like, oh, my sweet summer child. We have plenty to talk about. So on that regard, there you go. I have the perfect way to set up the question. In Kingdom Hearts 4, the way they presented Quadratum, with Sora being in Shibuya and in Minato, if I'm correct, how did that representation, like, was it good representation to you in terms of like actually living there? It's like, oh wow, this is really good how they're doing it. Like, it looks way better than how we saw it in Remind or anything. How did you feel about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's like a one-on-one recreation of Shibuya, like Hikarie building, the placement. The only thing that they missed was like, maybe they actually had it. I have to rewatch the trailer, but like, the Shibuya Scramble is a building that's right across from Shibuya.
Yeah, the
Hikarie
Scramble
that was
building.
built- Yeah, that was built during COVID. Like, it opened during COVID. So I don't know if they actually had that.
You
in
know
the
what? Wait, I'm
trailer.
sorry. Can I pause you, Audrey? When I went to Japan the second time after COVID happened, I thought I was crazy, right? I was like, this building was not here the last time I was here.
Right.
So I'm like, or I'm like, the whole time I was like gaslighting myself. Like, you know what? Maybe it was here. I haven't been here in a couple years. Maybe it was here. But like, because I loved, like, I was in Shibuya like three of the 7 days I was in Japan the first time. So I went back to Shibuya and I saw the Scramble building. I'm like, was this always here? I must be. No, I'm okay. So now that you said that, now I know I'm not crazy. All right, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Shibuya like area during COVID changed a lot, and like they even moved the train stations and train tracks a bit.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh,
like,
I definitely noticed that. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah. Like, I don't go to Shibuya often, but like when I went one time, like during COVID, after like a couple of months, I was like, I am so lost. Like, where like the station used to be here, but now like my train tracks are completely different. Like, where am I? And
Right.
I ended up in Shibuya Scramble. I was like, this is not Hikarie. But like, yeah. But when they for the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer though, I was like, oh, yeah, like it looks exactly like the placement and everything is pretty much just 1-to-1.
Nice. Oh man, that's what I really would like to know how much. That's like the one I have many burning questions of Kingdom Hearts 4. But one of the biggest one is like how much of Tokyo that's going to be represented in Quadratum is going to be explorable. You know what I mean? Like where's the wall going to be? Where's the invisible wall? Like where do I go in order to hit the wall for that? I want to know so badly. And then Nomura has already confirmed that this game Quadratum is going to act as a hub for Sora that a good chunk of the game is going to take place in. And before anybody else says otherwise, here's a little shell shock for you. Kingdom Hearts has never really had a hub, all right? Because people constantly say Traverse Town, Twilight Town, Radiant Garden in Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and then 3, like Twilight Town, forget about it, right? Like Kingdom Hearts has never had a hub because a lot of people misconstrue like a starting world to be a hub. No, a hub world is a world that exists separately from all the other worlds that allow you to access other said worlds, thus acting like a computer hub, right? You know, Super Mario 64, Peach's Castle, that's a hub because that's where you go back and forth to when it comes to accessing all the worlds through the paintings, right? And then Nomura said that Quadratum is going to act as a hub. So obviously, you know, Sora has no gummy ship. We're in a different dimension, unreality fiction. We're going to be able to access Disney worlds from Quadratum. So it makes me really wonder how much of Quadratum is going to be explorable in Kingdom Hearts 4. That just gets me really, 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 really excited, right?
Maybe take the trains to the Disney worlds.
Don't say that. That gets me hyped. Whoa.
That'd be really cool, like Persona, but like we're going to Disney World.
That sounds so sick, Sarah. Oh. Yo, give me one-way ticket to Coco. Let's go, man. Oh my goodness. But in that regard, I think I remember asking you this question, Audrey, but I'm just gonna ask you again. How far is it? Because I never got to visit Monado when I was there. How far is it from Shibuya, the Scramble, at least, to Monado, where Sora's not hotel, his apartment is located?
It's probably like 10 minutes away.
Okay, all right, so it's super nearby.
I mean, I don't know like how far it is by distance walking, but I would say maybe if it was walking distance, like 20 minutes away or something like that by walking.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so like, because I'm kind of like, I'm trying to take that, and I know Shinjuku is a bit of a minute away from Shibuya. Like it's close, but not close. Like I am not going to be able to walk from Shibuya to Shinjuku. I mean, I could, but I'd rather take a train, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to gauge how big Quadratum is going to be using like the quote unquote known areas that we're gonna possibly be visiting with Shibuya, Shinjuku, and the Minato areas. So I'm like, okay, how big is this game gonna be? Man, Sarah, God, you should have came with us to Japan, man. Like,
I want to go so bad.
We're gonna talk about this after stream.
It's so expensive.
It's actually, well, the Japanese yen right now, it's much cheaper than it was before. So,
more so the plane ride.
Yeah, the plane is a penny, and that's the thing. Like like the plane is going to be the most expensive thing that you are going to invest to. Everything else,
exactly.
Man, I'm going back next year. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But with all that considered, I'm gonna throw it over to Sarah really quick. So let's gear towards the idea, because we were talking about Disney worlds, and we're talking about how Sora will be able to get there. Now let's talk about what is he going to see when he gets to those worlds. Let's talk about Disney worlds you would like to see in Kingdom Hearts 4.
Okay. I think Moana would be really good.
Yeah, that'd be so good.
I think that'd be really, 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 really good. Like you were saying, Coco, I know that's Pixar, but we got Pixar now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
100%.
Coco would be really perfect.
Yep.
Sometimes I honestly think like I don't know how I really feel still about like I don't really care either way, but like live action stuff. But I
Mhm.
think like Into the Spider-Verse instead of like actual Marvel like Spider-Man. I think Into the Spider-Verse would be a really cool world. I really think that'd be really cool.
It would be, but the thing is, like, Into the Spider-Verse is owned by Sony.
Yeah,
All
that
right,
makes
so
sense.
that's like the big thing. So like,
So cool though.
yeah. So like Disney. Here's the thing. In terms of video games and with Kingdom Hearts, Disney could 100% use Spider-Man. And they can definitely do their own Spider-Verse, right? Because like they did it with comics, they did it with video games. They had like Disney can use like Miles Morales, Peter Parker, Gwen Stacy, all that stuff. They can, right? But if you're talking about the movies that we see from Sony Animation specifically, that incarnation specifically is a no-go.
Yeah,
but they can do their own version of Spider-Verse. Like
well,
okay, we have them all here. Yeah. No, trust me, I would love Spider-Man to be in Kingdom Hearts. Like if Marvel, if you had to give me one choice of one specific Marvel character, hands down Spider-Man. Like no repeats, no fucking don't phone a friend, none of that. Spider-Man. Spider-Man. All right.
They should have saved San Francisco for Kingdom Hearts 4 to go along with the theme.
But
Tokyo.
like I feel that San Francisco, like a couple of factors for that is that Big Hero 6 was hella hot. Roy Connolly's involvement was like, okay, let's do Big Hero 6 San Francisco. And I feel that a lot of what they did in terms of developing the world of San Francisco is gonna go in line with what they do with Kingdom Hearts 4. Right? Yeah. So I felt that was like kind of the beta test of, if that makes any sense, of how they want to approach a world like Quadratum in Kingdom Hearts 4.
That's true.
I guess they were like testing the waters there, because it definitely, like, even though Big Hero 6 was announced pretty early on, the world in itself, like compared to other worlds, was very, I don't want to say what's the word or what's the term, it wasn't much to be desired. It was like like you can tell when comparing Big Hero 6's world, San Francisco, to the other worlds, it was developed with a different mindset, if that makes any sense.
Like maybe it was developed later.
Yeah, way
like, oh, you know what? Maybe we don't need to put all of this stuff, so we're just gonna make it like a random like building.
Yeah.
Like that was it.
Right. Yeah, because it was very open, but yet very random and whatnot. It didn't have any sense of direction. It just had like it's here, missions, go do it. Right?
Yeah.
Like every other world kind of had a guiding hand to them. There you go. That's the best way for me to describe it. Every other world in Kingdom Hearts 3 had a guiding hand to them. San Francisco didn't. Right? So that's why I felt like they went in with it under a very different design philosophy. And I feel that design philosophy was them kind of cultivating what they are trying or are attempting to do with Quadratum and Kingdom Hearts 4.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I feel like maybe when they were making San Francisco, like maybe it was one of the latter worlds, and they're like, you know what, we put so much resources in Frozen and Toy Story that's like,
and the Caribbean
kind of the Caribbean was so amazing, and the Caribbean was like its own game. It was
that's my favorite world in that game, Audrey. Holy shit! Like the Caribbean was so good, man.
Yeah. But I feel like because they had like other budget, for those areas for Big Hero 6, they're probably like, you know what, we'll just make it simple,
right?
And just kind of like have it one dimensional. I feel like Monsters Inc. was kind of like that too. It was just kind of like not that much going on for it,
right? And for the difference between Monsters Inc. and San Francisco, I feel, because I definitely agree with the sentiment. The difference is that Monsters Inc. was a hallway. Like, all right, there's only one direction to go, and that's forward, right? And, like, it's cool because, I mean, it's funny enough, Monsters, Inc. is actually built like a Kingdom Hearts 2 world, right? When compared to all the other worlds, right? And then some people, like, oh, that's not a slight, but in my opinion, I'm like, well, here's the thing. Kingdom Hearts 3 was built with a lot of verticality in mind. And then when you throw Sora with all of those abilities with the verticality in mind in a setting like Kingdom Hearts 2, then it's like, hey, yo, man, I'm kind of boxed in here. Like, let me out. So, but I didn't think it was a bad world. I don't think Kingdom Hearts 3 had any bad worlds, right? And that goes
the
along.
worst is Frozen.
Here's the thing. I honestly think if we're gonna do the worst, I think Monsters Inc. is the worst. Cause it's a hallway, you know. And it's funny because I've seen people that are like Toy Box is the worst, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, I love that.
Like, are you out of your mind? Like, all right, wait. Someone in the chat, 100 Acre Wood, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. Twilight Town, 100 Acre Wood, that doesn't count because you know what? I count them all as the same world. It's all just like different rooms. All right.
Fair enough.
But in that degree, I want to throw the ball back over to Audrey in terms of what movies would you like to see in? I mean, like, Sarah, did you have any other worlds or no?
Oh no, that's okay.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so Audrey, what worlds, what movies or properties would you like to see in Kingdom Hearts
4? Princess and the Frog.
Yes.
So good. That's one that I was surprised they didn't put it in because it's not like 3D, you know?
Mhm.
So like why didn't they put it in Kingdom Hearts 2 or Dream Drop Distance or whatever? Like I think it deserves it. It's such a good movie. Yeah, Princess and the Frog is one I really want to see. And I guess like for newer IPs like Encanto would be really cool. Because you know, Coco and Encanto would be awesome to have a bit more of like Southern America like flair.
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, like what Sarah mentioned, Moana would be amazing. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, it would be so beautiful to navigate. And I guess like if Pixar is a fair game, maybe like Finding Nemo or something like that.
That would be
kinda
really
cute.
cool.
Yeah, like you become like a fish. Like that would be very funny.
Ooh.
And then we saw a bit of Star Wars, right? So
Yep.
if Star Wars is fair game, I'm assuming that means Marvel is fair game.
Yep.
So there's a lot to take
The sky
in
is
there.
really the limit. And
Exactly.
I have a theory, like a small theory, but like I feel like Nomura, listen, nothing like as Nomura would say through his games, through Xehanort, nothing is left to chance, right? So when you brought up Princess and the Frog, 100% I agree that it should be in Kingdom Hearts. It should have been in Kingdom Hearts because like the movie came out 2009. I think 2009. Yeah. Here's my thought process. I feel like Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to deal with a lot of concepts dealing with the idea of death, loss, and the idea of another world. And when I say another world, an afterlife, an afterworld, because that's how Quadratum is described from what we saw in Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. It's described by Streletsy in the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer and whatnot. And I feel that Kingdom Hearts 4, to establish that, is going to incorporate a number of worlds where that is either the main or a pervading theme throughout the property. And with Princess and the Frog, we deal with the Shadow Man. We deal with him having friends from the other side. And then like they not so subtly touch upon the idea of the afterlife, of a place of suffering when the Shadow Man is Dr. Facilier is dragged down to hell after not making good on his promise to, you know, his shadowy friends and whatnot. And I feel that's a concept that could be explored for that in Kingdom Hearts 4 when it comes to dealing with loss, dealing with a choice with, you know, Princess and the Frog, where they like, oh, do I go for true love? Do I go for wanting my restaurant? You know, Tiana and all of that, like that crisis, you know, in terms of like what the movie's trying to portray and whatnot. So I feel that is a good indicator of what they could go for Kingdom Hearts 4. Along with that, with Coco, please, like Coco, I feel like is like one of my favorite movies. Audrey, sorry, I'm pretty sure I told y'all this before. I don't think I've ever cried that much in a movie, like in my older life. Like that movie destroyed me. So I would love for it to be representing Kingdom Hearts, and then like the very aspect of death and being remembered is very, very prevalent in that movie because it deals with the whole concept of Day of the Dead, and you know how those have passed, they you know, of course you should mourn them, but also you should celebrate them, because the minute you forget them, that's when they truly die. And I feel that's a concept that needs to be explored in Kingdom Hearts 4 that was subtly touched upon in Chain of Memories. But I would love for that move to be applied there. Other moves I would love to see is Atlantis, the Lost Empire. You know,
yeah, that one would be awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Dealing with the great ancestors, the concept of death, those that came before. Treasure Planet, man, just give me Treasure Planet. Like, Treasure Planet is probably my number one world that has not been explored in Kingdom Hearts that I need to be explored in Kingdom Hearts. Like, absolutely, please, right? And then that movie in itself deals with like the concept of a doorway, other worlds, and then also discovering yourself. It doesn't really deal with the idea of death as much as it does with other potential worlds that could be in Kingdom Hearts 4, but I feel like it's a good avenue to explore. Treasure Planet, Coco, Moana, like Sarah said, Moana screams Kingdom Hearts to me. Like, I was watching that movie the whole time. I'm like, you know, this is Kingdom Hearts. This is Kingdom Hearts. Like, we deal with hearts, the darkness, wanting to go outside your island on a voyage out to sea. Like, hello, am I the only one noticing this? Like,
well, wouldn't it be so cute if Sora was like, "Is this my island?" Like he gets there and he can see the Destiny Islands. That'd be so cute.
It's insane. I would love this. Like, oh, this reminds me just like my islands. This is my island, and then goes out to sea and then sees Moana. It's like, oh, Sarah, that would be so crazy. That would be endearing yet heartbreaking. Where imagine it's like, oh, I made it home. Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, it's like
oh yeah.
Nah, you're making me.
Oh, I'd love that. Oh my god,
you're making me feel that would. Please, like, I'm looking at you, Square Enix, like on a silver platter. So those movies, and then another one that a lot of people like. Do I want to explore that? In Kingdom Hearts 4, I feel it's finally time. The Black Cauldron. And The Black Cauldron is a pretty dark movie, is an awesome movie, and then you have like a very fantastic world. You have a menacing enemy. You have the forces of light and darkness constantly going against each other. And you have the concept of the Black Cauldron, which can go twofold when it comes to what could be explored in Kingdom Hearts 4. The Black Cauldron grants you your deepest, darkest wish, or deepest wish, whatever wish you want. Hey, Sora, I'm trying to get home, right? The Black Cauldron could, whatchamacallit, it can grant that, but at a cost, right? And that's the second thing, where the Black Cauldron demands a life in turn of, like, not a life, but it demands something valuable to make your wish come true. And then at the end of the movie, if you guys didn't see Black Cauldron, spoilers, go watch it, Disney Plus, 1984. The point is, there's a character named Gorgi that sacrifices himself in order to put a stop to the Black Cauldron, right? And this character like dies, and like that could deal with the whole narrative of Sora understanding the weight of his own sacrifice in terms of seeing everyone mourn for this character in the Black Cauldron. And I'm like,
makes me think of something.
What you thinking? What you think, Sarah? Lay it on me.
I think I have two thoughts.
Do it.
Number one, and this is not to like be a downer, but to be honest, I don't really feel like they're gonna put a lot of 2D stuff in Kingdom Hearts 4.
You're not a downer. I get it. I just want to believe
they're going for more realism. But we'll see because they did show Hades, so we don't know. Which
right.
God, we don't need Hercules again. But anyway,
yo, Nomura's never letting that road go. When I saw, I couldn't help but laugh when I saw Hades. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Like, hey, Hercules is back again. Wild.
My other thought was Inside
I'm
Out.
over it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need another Hercules.
Hey, listen. I adore that movie, so I'm like, you know what? If you want to keep bringing it back,
Like the
Go for it.
Colosseum,
It hasn't been good since Kingdom Hearts 1, and that's my hot take. I just
What?
you can't even get XP in Kingdom Hearts 2.
But it was cool in Kingdom Hearts 2.
It's cool, but like
yeah,
it's
you
not
see Auron and stuff like that, right?
okay. That's worth it. I agree with that. I mean, okay, I like it in Kingdom Hearts 2. I'm talking about like specifically like the Colosseum.
Yeah, the Colosseum. I get it. Yeah.
But then in Kingdom Hearts 3, we don't even have that aspect anymore. So now it's just like, why? Why do we even have it? Like, but anyway, I think Inside Out would be good. And I think it's a good topic because of that like theory that Sora is going to be in the new one.
It's funny because like I do believe Sora is going to be in it, but like he's just going to show up for like possibly 3 frames, and that's it. A lot of people think it's like, oh, he's going to have like
for sure.
Like a cameo. Like, no, what I think Sora's going to be instead of is going to be below that of cameo. He's going to be there, but it's going to be tiny. Like,
No, I agree. I agree. It's still cool though.
Oh yeah. But I would like for Inside Out to be explored. But not to be a downer, is just that I feel Inside Out would be better if they put it off for the game after 4 to allow 4 to establish Sora going through these very different emotions and exploring that, and then come to terms with that, like, oh, I need to look inside myself for the game afterwards. Because I don't think Sora's going to be saved at the end of 4. Like, and I don't want him to be. I don't want him to be.
Really?
Yeah, really, absolutely. I do not want him to be saved. I do not want him to be saved at the end of 4. Like, that's too, like, bro, one game, like, nah. Like, but, yeah, no, I'm really liking these ideas. In terms of, let's gear towards a little bit from worlds, from story. Let's talk a bit about, like, just like we don't have to be an expert on it, because we all have our own different takes and we all have our own different expertises on the gameplay of Kingdom Hearts. And Sarah, I don't want to hear anything from you. You beat the game on Dance Pad, all right? So in that regard, what type of gameplay, as wild or as mild as you would think, would you like to see in Kingdom Hearts 4 that either has been explored already or hasn't been explored at all from another game, Square Enix or otherwise, that you like to see in Kingdom Hearts 4? And in that regard, I'm going to throw it over to Sarah first.
Personally, I think I would like for it to stay, Kingdom Hearts combat. I definitely like that they are incorporating reaction commands again. I think that's very exciting. I don't really want to see attraction flow. I think if combat...
Wait, attraction flow or flow motion?
Attraction flow. I don't want to see.
You mean the ride summoning?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
I don't want that.
We don't want that. No, we're good.
No.
We're good. You tried it once. We don't need it again. Thanks.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Like,
yeah. I want to see. I had something. Hold on. Wait. My brain just short circuited. Wait. Why can't I think of what I was gonna say?
Do you need us to come back to you?
It was on the tip of my tongue, but yeah, just come back to me.
All right, and Audrey, come on down. All right, so Audrey, what are you feeling in terms of gameplay that you'd like to see explored in Kingdom Hearts 4 that either was explored in previous games or the games Square Enix or otherwise? Lay it on me.
I definitely want to see flow motion again.
Oh yeah,
that one was amazing and so easy to use. The attractions, I totally agree with Sarah. It's kind of like, it was a lot. Like, I sometimes accidentally summon like the giant teacups in the middle of a battle of, like, just random small heartless, and I'm just like, God damn it. And you have to watch like the whole cinematic of it, and you could skip it, I think, but you have to play it, right? So I'm just like, oh my God. Or like a big merry-go-round in the middle of nowhere.
It was so disrespectful that they put Hand in Hand for that. I'm like, that's one of my favorite songs, and you put it in attractions? How could you? How dare you?
Actually, I finished the Xehanort battle at the end, the last battle. I killed him, or like I won by summoning accidentally the rocking ship or whatever.
The
And then,
pirate
like,
ship,
I
you
just
made
made
the
a pirate ship.
meme real? You
Yeah, and I just accidentally like summoned that, and so I just like slapped Xehanort around like
Nice.
up and down, and then I finished like the last battle that way.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So I mean, like, I didn't even really do it intentionally. It was just like one of the options, and my like finger was trigger happy, and I was like, oh shit, I clicked triangle. Oh shit, and I'm like, oh well, it's fine. I guess I'm winning.
It's like, oh, pirate
But-
ship, here comes Last Ray.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, like, I do enjoy like the triangle options that like I want them to bring back. You know, like summoning different unique abilities based on your keyblade. Like that was very creative, I feel, and I
Yeah.
hope they bring that back. I mean, I don't think there's really that much of the action like battle mechanics that they need to really change. I think it's very like fluid as already from what Kingdom Hearts 3 showed us. So I think they can just keep it like that, honestly.
so I got some takes. It could be hot or otherwise and whatnot, and I'm building a video. Trust me, you guys, it's coming. Believe. I agree with like the core, like flow and mechanics of like Sora wielding the Keyblade or anything like that. But in like obviously with each numbered Kingdom Hearts game or any Kingdom Hearts game in general, like we gotta add more. We have to have more. We have to have more things on top of it. I said this on a stream earlier, and I would really like it in Kingdom Hearts 4 if they incorporated from Rebirth and from 16 that limits are now in the shortcut pool. In terms of like limit form from Kingdom Hearts 2, but for everything. Like you can learn Sonic Blade, Ars Arcanum, other things like Twisted Arrows from Birth by Sleep or anything like that. You can find those and learn those. And instead of like from Kingdom Hearts 1 where you had to hit triangle if it's equipped, hit triangle at a certain time or a situation, or you can only access them in limit form, have them be able to map to limits. Not limits, map to shortcut. Because like shortcuts just like potion, Kingdom Hearts 3 had potions, summons, and magic. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Keep all of that, but add limits to the pool. You know, like, oh, I can find Sonic Blade, I can add Sonic Blade to a shortcut of my choosing and just have all that there.
Like Rebirth, like how you learn abilities.
Yes,
yes, that would be
Yes.
so good. No, I agree. That would be actually
Man,
really good.
like so sick. And then, you know, if people are wondering, it's like, oh, are they gonna take magic? Like, if you don't want them to take magic, I mean, this is a thing that Square Enix can figure out. They could take magic, but then that's a lot of magic that we're talking about if we're gonna be like, you know, spamming Sonic Blade over and over or Ars Arcanum over and over. If not magic, then have them have their own specified cooldown on their specific button. Kind of like a combination of how we see with the shortcuts and the command deck from Birth by Sleep, Dream Jump, this is all that stuff, where if it's a magic ability, it uses up MP. If it's not a magic ability, like a limit, it has its own, what do you call it? It has its own cooldown that you can't abuse it, right? And then you can get, in your abilities, you can get MP haste and you can get limit haste. Like MP haste, MP hastega, limit hastega, that like, oh, for this, you could equip this to make your limits go down quicker, or you use this. Like, give me ownership and complete control over my limits in Kingdom Hearts 4. That's what I'm asking. And another thing that I would really want, I'm just like constantly talking about how they introduced this in Birth by Sleep, but then did nothing with it, like after Birth by Sleep, is y'all remember the what do you call it? The finisher path? Like the finisher skill tree from Birth by Sleep. I'm like, that was so cool. Why'd you get rid of it? You know,
I don't. Well, what was that one exactly like?
So in Birth by Sleep, when each character, Terra, Aqua, Ventus, had their own finisher, like at the end of the combo, right? And in Birth by Sleep, you can level those up, and they had specific paths that, like, oh, level up by doing this, by defeating this many Harlots, or level this up by doing this many commands and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are so cool. And then when you level them up, you can choose different finishers for your for your character. Instead of just like, Sora learns Magic Flash, and then Magic Flash, and then not even Magic Flash in the Remind update, Last Charge. Last Charge is your go-to finisher always. And that's cool, but like variety is the spice of life. That's what I'm saying. Bring that back. That allows us to either level up or gain a new finisher from a selected like path or a tree that Sora could have that is lifted from Birth by Sleep. Like, it was such a cool feature. I don't know why. Like, when I didn't see it in Dream Drop Distance, I'm like, interesting. That's odd. But bring that back for Kingdom Hearts 4. I honestly love that. Sarah, were you able to remember what you forgot? All right, let's get it.
All I was gonna say was, I feel like the combat was pretty much perfected in Limit Cut. So as long as I really want more like human boss fights. Like, that's my one thing.
Yeah.
I just really want that Limit Cut combat with obviously like added features, and then more human boss fights. That's like, I need like another like Roxas fight, like not necessarily with Roxas, but like a fight like that. Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're going to get that since we're in Quadratum. I feel we're going to be dealing with a lot of human-like foes. Like, we're probably going to end up fighting Yozora multiple times. We're probably going to end up fighting Magia and Aegis. And then whoever other Quadratumites. I saw that online. I'm like, hey, Quadratumites. We're going to deal with those. But at the same time, I feel like what we saw with that dark side, we're going to still have big, fantastical bosses. But I do think we are going to get a lot more human-like bosses or human-like enemies in Kingdom Hearts 4 in terms of Quadratum. And I said all this, and I didn't even say the Foretellers, bro. Like, the Lost Masters. Like, come on. Like, they're all humans. Hell yeah.
That'd be awesome if we fight them.
I saw a post the other day, like, yo, imagine if Kingdom Hearts 4, and I think it'll be cool, but I feel like it's a bit early. But I mean, like, if they do it, no skin off my back. Imagine the Lost Master data battles in Kingdom Hearts 4.
Oh, that would be crazy. Yeah, that would be.
Because I really feel that with Kingdom Hearts, with the Lost Master arc, with the Lost Master, like the Foretellers, Luxu, the Master of Masters, all of them, I feel they are on a level that is so above that of Sora and Xehanort. It's going to be insane when we first engage them. So, like, because we kind of got the idea from that with Dark Road, where, like, for the first time ever, ladies and gentlemen, like, okay, first time ever, quote, we saw with Riku taking the Keyblade away from Sora. He was able to do that because the Keyblade belonged to him. The Master was able to take away Xehanort's Keyblade, and we've never seen that in Kingdom Hearts, where I was just like, okay, like, if this man could do that, how are we gonna fight him? Like, how do we fight that? So in that regard, since Sarah got us on the idea of human bosses, Audrey, how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like the human bosses would be more challenging because it's more based on skill, right? Like, I had a hard time fighting Yozora. Like, I was just like, I'm just gonna give up. Like, just let him defeat me, and that was my ending. Like, it was too much, yeah. So I think that would be really fun though, like, and challenging if they were to just kind of continue with adding more of those human bosses. Because I mean, like, the Disney, like, Heartless bosses, they're still fun, but it's kind of like just pretty much the same concept, like a really big thing. You have to fight this part, fight that part, and then that's about it. But the human ones had more like stakes, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely, because like I feel there's gonna be a whole and I put a video about this out today, that in Quadratum, when it comes to Yozora, since we got the idea from the driver, who, I mean, come on, it's Luxord, you guys, it's Luxord. A lot of people still deny it, it's him.
Yeah.
All right. I feel that, like, when he was calling Yozora Commander, like, we're gonna be dealing with Task Force. We're gonna be dealing with a lot of human bots. I feel that Sora and Strelitzia are going to be hunted down because they're Keyblade wielders in a world that's not their own, right? It's like a fantastic, not just a world that's not their own, a reality that's not their own, right? A reality without the light and darkness. And the Keyblade kind of puts like all stamina on that. And I feel that it's their fault that dark side showed up, right? So with that being said, I feel that they're like Yozora as a commander is going to have a task force that commands that of Maga, Aegis, Luxord, and God knows who else are going to be able, or are like going to be a constant thorn in Sora's side. And not only that, you know, a lot of people, you know, all right, wait. No, Sarah, I'm pretty sure you're on my side with this. Every other Keykeeper is like, they don't want to see Gigases again. And I'm like, we're in Quadratum. We're going to see Gigases a lot. I feel like Gigases is the name of the game. Those are the big ass battle suits that this task force is going to utilize. And we're going to see them. We're going to see them. We're going to fight them. We're going to use them. Get used to it. Sarah, you like Gigases?
I mean, I didn't have a problem with the Gigas in Kingdom Hearts 3.
All right, cool.
I thought it was fun. As long as it's not like the main combat. Like if it's just a small part, then I don't mind.
Okay, see, all right, see. As long as you don't have a problem, you're good. But
no,
like Dean, Sky, and Jared are like, yo, get the Gigases out of here. I'm like, why are you guys such haters?
I'm not a fan of the Gigas.
You're not?
But I'm not like,
Audrey!
I think I like kept on messing up on one thing. I forgot what it was. Yeah, and I was just like, God damn it! Like, can I just fight normally?
Giga supremacy.
but I get it. You know, it's mecha. It's very like, you know, there's a huge following for that, so I get it. Yeah, personally, it was not my thing, but you know,
man, it's funny because like I get the idea of it's not your thing, but I'm telling you right now. Get used to it because I feel like we're gonna see a lot of them in Quadratum.
So yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so in that regard, since we're talking about aspects that we could see or would like to see in Kingdom Hearts 4, and since we talked about Final Fantasy earlier, I think it's a good time. This is a good time to talk about Final Fantasy or other properties that aren't Disney and aren't Disney owned. So not Marvel, not Star Wars, not Disney, not Pixar, none of that. Other properties, Final Fantasy and The World Ends With You, or other Square properties that you would like to see in Kingdom Hearts 4, starting with Final Fantasy. How are you feeling on that? Audrey, I'm going to throw the ball over to you.
I don't know if we'll get Final Fantasy Worlds, you know, because like, they said that I think it was Nomura said that there's no for Kingdom Hearts 3 there was not much need to put in Final Fantasy characters, but I feel like that kind of sucks because that's literally what made a lot of people want to play Kingdom Hearts, right?
And he even said that too. He's like, the whole point, the reason why we did that is to get people into it, and then you go around and do this, like.
Exactly. So that kind of sucks, in my opinion. But I mean, I get it because now there's so many original characters that have their own fan bases that it probably doesn't matter if they put in Final Fantasy characters or not. But I feel like they should still at least have like, you know, the characters prevalent.
Exactly. Because like I don't need worlds. I like characters. I will take that at bottom line.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But in terms of worlds, I mean, it would be cool to have like a Midgar collab, you know, like crossover. That would be really cool. But I feel like we're not gonna get worlds. I feel like we're just gonna get characters at the most.
Oh yeah, no, and I honestly I will be completely fine with that. Like Quadratum could be their world because I mean Quadratum is like the appearance of the world and the appearance of the characters as they are in the world. I mean, look at Yozora; it's very Final Fantasy-esque, and I would love to see other Final Fantasy properties explored in Quadratum, and then the reasoning why we didn't explore them in Kingdom Hearts 4 is because the way that they appear. The way they appear in Quadratum makes more sense for their their particular art style. Even though I thought certain characters in Kingdom Hearts looked good, like Cloud, Squall, Yuffie, the rest of them, Setzer, Cypher, all of them. I think they look all great in that. So I would like to see Final Fantasy characters once again be prevalent, because I mean, like Nomura said, the whole point of having them in Kingdom Hearts 1 is to get that Aerith familiarity to draw people into this new franchise, and I get that. And then I feel like since Kingdom Hearts 4 is the Kingdom Hearts 1 of the Lost Master arc, they could do that again. And with that sense, he's been on record saying that, like, oh, people complained that we didn't see any Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3, so we brought them back for Remind in terms of the Restoration Committee of Hollow Bastion. And he said, like, for Kingdom Hearts 4, or like, no, he didn't say Kingdom Hearts 4. He said Kingdom Hearts moving forward, we will take into account that idea of like incorporating Final Fantasy characters moving forward. And I feel that's like, that's a very kind of like PR type of answer, but I believe,
Right.
So
in that sense, before I get to my point in the matter, Sarah, how are you feeling on that idea?
So I got into Kingdom Hearts without being into Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So that's why I personally am not like that. Like, I don't care either way, but I do agree with most people. I do think having Final Fantasy, you might as well, at least to a certain extent. Like, even just having cameos, I think people would be happy. And okay, I don't know if this is just me and maybe I've like read into it too much, but I kind of interpreted like the name Quadratum as like square.
Yeah,
and I
it is square.
So I'm thinking like maybe because like we're in Shibuya, right? So like, what if we got The World Ends With You? What if we got like maybe even Near? Like, I mean, that this is just wishful thinking.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I'm just saying, like, if we get like a bunch of different square stuff, I think that would be really cool. Even if it's just like a small part, like obviously there's already so many characters, and I completely understand why Nomura has tried to like, get some of the Final Fantasy characters to exit and also incorporate like this like versus 13 kind of thing going on.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I think that we should at least have some Final Fantasy in Kingdom Hearts 4, whether that be like, I think a Sephiroth fight, I think everyone would be so happy. Like, honestly, especially with like Rebirth being so big right now. Like, I just think, I think a Sephiroth fight, I don't even care if people like, people will be like, oh, but that story ended. Oh,
no, it didn't. Like, no, it didn't.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't think it did, but people will say that. So I think that would be really cool. Yeah. I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts, but
then keep talking. Like, hello.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
I just think like you might as well have Final Fantasy especially for the people who got into it because of Final Fantasy. I think that's part of their comfort. Because for a long time, I was kind of like, well, I don't think it needs to have Final Fantasy because Kingdom Hearts can be okay on its own.
Right.
But I think that's my perspective, though, as somebody who got into it before Final Fantasy. And so I think it's important to see it from the perspective of people who got into it because of Final Fantasy and how important that aspect is to them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And in that regard, I agree where, like, Kingdom Hearts 4 has the most groundwork to introduce or reintroduce certain characters and properties from other Square Enix stuff, like Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy 7 specifically. Like, I truly believe with my whole heart that where Cloud and Sephiroth disappeared to was Quadratum. I feel this is like the best place to put them in. And then Tifa being the representation, the embodiment of Cloud's life, light. She will find her way to Quadratum, and then Barrett could be here the whole time. Barrett's originally from Quadratum, and then there you go, Avalanche, Final Fantasy 7-esque storyline there. Sephiroth boss fight again. And then I'm so glad you brought up Nier, where, a lot of people are like, okay, Nier, Yoko Taro, it's not like, they're both Square Enix, and they're both come to a realm of familiarity to a certain degree in which, Nier had a collaboration with Final Fantasy 14. Of course, Nomura is not like in charge of 14, but Nomura has contributed to 14. What I'm saying is that, Nier has crossed over with the realm that Nomura has had his foot in through the door, very much so. And with Quadratum being a futuristic-esque world, where Yozora is from, Gigas is from, robotics, technology, magic technology, the whole deal with 2B, possibly Nier Automata, maybe, just maybe. A lot of people are crying out the idea of like 2B will probably be censored, and I'm like, yeah, probably, more than likely, definitely, right? And then I like, that's no skin off my back, because I mean, she's more than just the sexy robot. She has like a very big personality. Like if they gave her shorts, if they give her a new design, like an adaptation for how she would appear at Quadratum, I'll be 100% down for that. Because I mean, like, characters and entities that have been in Kingdom Hearts before are no stranger to mature themes. Like, when it comes to their own original games, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy VII, right? So Final Fantasy VI, I mean, censor, like, bro. So they're no stranger to that, but the way they can get adapted, and oh my god, it's funny. I'm giving this all like a really rigid thought, and I'm like trying to champion this idea. But in the day and age we are in, Audrey and Sarah, there's gonna be people that complain about the idea of possibly like 2B being adapted in a lighter tone than where she was. Like, people are gonna make videos saying like, oh man, look, 2B has been reduced to this, Nier Automata has been reduced to this, and Kingdom Hearts. I'm like, bro, stop. Do you not know what an adaptation is? So you know what? That dawned upon me. Like, I want it, but do I want it? Fuck.
I mean, I think they would do that, but I also feel like, all the Final Fantasy characters had different outfits too, pretty much.
Yeah.
They have their own Kingdom Hearts outfits, and also it's just, it is Disney at the end of the day. So, I mean, I don't know, but they could also be moving towards it being a little more mature because
absolutely.
Star Wars, and most of the fan base of Kingdom Hearts is older now, so I don't know.
I was looking over towards my Kingdom Hearts boxes that I have on the shelf. I'm like, wait a minute, Kingdom Hearts is E for everyone or E10? I'm like, okay, it's E10. E10, see, they're fine. Make E10 is good enough, man. Well, I mean,
make a T.
Make a T. Yo, I honestly don't think a Kingdom Hearts game will ever be T, but E10 is good enough. E10 is good. That's why they made E10 enough in the first place. They wanted Shadow the Hedgehog to curse and use guns, but still not be T. That's why they made E10 enough. It's fine. It's good enough. But going back to the original point, I feel like they can do a really cool adaptation because, I mean, like Kingdom Hearts already deals with very hardcore, mature themes that games like Final Fantasy and Nier address already. War, proxy war, genocide, like catastrophe in the sense of like the world ending and starting anew and stuff. So like these concepts have already been explored in Kingdom Hearts, but in different ways. So if they were to explore those concepts or explore those characters in said game like that, they have enough wiggle room, in my opinion. But of course, they have to dance around the mouse. And Kingdom Hearts has been doing it for 20 years, and they're fine. So yes, I would love like properties like Nier Automata be explored in Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. And both y'all didn't say it. The world ends with you.
Wait, I did say that.
Oh wait, you did? You did?
No, Sarah did. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Because like Shibuya makes sense to. No,
I was hyper focusing on the Nier part. My bad.
It's all good.
But yeah, so yeah, the world ends with you. So I would love that. And like my biggest issue, and it's not even an issue. My biggest issue with them possibly exploring the world ends with you in Kingdom Hearts 4 is the art style, because the world ends with you is very anime, very stylistic, very drawn, that style, cell shaded, all that stuff. I'm sure like it's Square Enix, they'll find a way. I'm sure they'll find a way to adapt characters like Neku and especially Rindo in that art style that they're doing with Quadratum right now, which is very Final Fantasy-esque, very, realistic, like leaning towards realistic, not entirely, but like 90%, 80% of the way. So I feel they could explore. I feel they can find a style that makes them look good. And Sora looks good. So Yeah, I would love it for the What Ends With You, specifically Neo. You know, a lot of people say, oh, Neku this, Neku that. He said, meet again in Shibuya from Dream Job this. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But Rindo, I feel, not only being the newer character, but his specific predicament of his situation. Wait, we all played Neo the Ones with you?
No,
I have not finished it, but
I didn't play it
it's
yet.
okay. No worries.
Can I talk about it or no?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
All right. There, see, and I didn't say anything, but I'll see. All I'll say is that they have a very, very, very similar situation in terms of their problems, and I'll leave it at that. Sarah.
I can explain. I mean, so I started playing the first one. Like, I've tried playing it twice now. But the first time I tried playing it, I was streaming it, and it's a lot of reading, and
It is
very draining when you're streaming.
I'll 100% get that.
Yeah. Then the second time I tried playing it with Jonathan, and we were voice acting with each other. So once again, it's just, I almost feel like maybe I should just play it on my own and just like read it to myself, and maybe I'd actually finish it because I really like it. It's just, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
No voice acting. So that's the only reason.
Right.
Luckily enough, Neo has a lot of voice acting.
Oh, good. Okay,
right?
Cool.
But the structure of what they talk is like almost exactly how they do it in the first one. It's just that you can actually hear them speak now. So.
Oh, so it's not like they're not like saying the lines. They just have voices.
No, they are saying the lines. It's just it's like, you know how the ones where it's like comic book esque, like manga esque, where like they have the frames and they talk with that bubble.
Yeah.
It's still like that, but they just say what's in the bubble.
I know. I like that. I don't mind that.
Okay, so then all right, then I think you'll have a way better time streaming Neo. Do it, like
okay, I know. I need
it's so good, man. You're still stuck on the first one. Wait, so all right, so before we move on to the next topic, you do need to play the final remix version. Is that the one you're playing?
Yeah, on the Switch.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that one, because like the stuff they add to that is incredibly important for the sequel.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, all right, cool. All right, so moving on from the ones with you, so Nier, Final Fantasy, the ones with you, and you know, like it's kind of half and half for the lulz, but like, hey, you know, the bouncer, you know, I think the bouncer would be cool too, but
oh my god, the bouncer! I have played that.
Yeah, like wait, Audrey, have you ever played the bouncer?
No, the bouncer. What's the bouncer?
So the bouncer is a Square Enix game, a Square Soft game that Nomura was not in charge of, but Nomura contributed to before Kingdom Hearts 1. And if you look at the main character Scion, it's a beat 'em up, right? If you look at the main character Scion or Sion, whatever, man, like if you look at that main character,
I just googled it. It's Sora.
It'll get right. So I'm like, hey, listen. If they explore the bouncer in Kingdom Hearts 4, that'll be actually insane. And
the game is wild.
Yeah, that game's crazy. So Pence, his shirt, Dog Street, that comes from the bouncer.
I love Pence.
Yo, watch Pence be like the most busted chest.
I hope so.
The most busted chess piece in Missing Link. Man, because bro, I like that those Pence memes for Union Cross. I'm like, his metal's not even good. Like people are like, yo, Pence. The Pence is like, and like, bro, get him out of here, bro. Wow, watch Pence become the new Kyrie in Missing Link. Man. All right, so in that regard, let me ask a very specific question to the both of you. Given that the game doesn't deal with technology as we know it in other Final Fantasy games, or possibly that of Kingdom Hearts, how do y'all feel? And I'm gonna throw this over to Audrey first. How do y'all feel about the idea of Final Fantasy 16 with Clive being in Kingdom Hearts 4?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like, defy destiny, try to fight back from Well, I guess it depends on what who the antagonist is gonna be for Kingdom
Right.
Hearts 4. Like, I get that, it's like the afterlife and whatnot, but like depending on who the antagonist is, I think that like will determine what kind of like Final Fantasies will fit better with the game. But I mean, I love F16, so I would personally love to see Clive in Kingdom Hearts. That'd be freaking awesome.
But what if he's dressed like a hipster?
I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, like I don't really like if 2B ends up wearing pants. Like, okay, whatever. Like I don't
Can
care.
you
As long as
imagine
it's
Clive
well
wearing a
executed.
beanie and just like a hoodie? Just
I mean,
shorts.
it would be interesting.
Yeah.
Anything to build up on the lore.
Yeah.
I would not mind that.
Cool.
But yeah, I would personally like that a lot. But I don't know, like if they are going to have plans to put new Final Fantasy characters, or if it's only going to be Disney related. Like it's hard to say at this point. I guess it depends on how Missing Link plays out as well.
True. And it's funny because with all the intents and purposes of like Clive from Final Fantasy 16, his game possible playstyle and all that stuff, is like the only thing that's like making me just like being like it's like 1% abrasive is just like, oh, how are they gonna deal with design? And like it's the more like he can work the magic, so like I'm not truly afraid in that degree, because I really want like an Ifrit and Sora boss fight against that giant dark side. Like imagine like Sora riding on his shoulder as he's Ifrit and just like helping him fight that giant dark side in Shibuya, like kaiju style. Like I need that in my life. But same question thrown over to Sarah. So how are we feeling 16 in Kingdom Hearts 4? Clive, how are we feeling?
I mean, I would think it was cool. Like, I'm down. Do I think they're gonna do it? No, but I think I'm just being honest.
Like, but you were so like the funniest part is like you were so frame one with that. It's just like, okay, all right, tell me how you really feel.
I just feel like it's a completely different like sector of Final Fantasy to me.
Right? Yeah.
I view it as more like Final Fantasy 14 kind of, because I mean same developer, all that stuff. I mean, not to say it's impossible, it's Final Fantasy.
Right.
I just don't I can't really see them doing it. But if they did, I would be very pleasantly surprised and happy, because I love 16 and I love Clive so much.
Right.
So I think it'd be really cool. Yeah. That's how I feel about it.
No, that was good. Like, no, don't feel bad. That was hilarious. But because I get it, because like that's a big part of my abrasion, as well as not only just the appearance of Clive in the game. It's just that 16 and 14, for the most part of the overall game, I said this before, Nomura contributed very slightly when you consider the scope of 14. He doesn't really have a hand in that, and neither did he have a hand in 16, right? And I feel that it's 95% of what is from Final Fantasy that's in Kingdom Hearts, Nomura's had a hand in, because I'm pretty sure, and I said this and I researched this and I made sure, and I want to make sure that I'm not bugging, is that the only Final Fantasy character that he did not design that made it into Kingdom Hearts was Vivi, because he did design Setzer. And then because he designed a number of characters, including Terra, Setzer, in 6, but wasn't really like in charge of so much other stuff like he was in 7 going forward. Yeah. So I think Vivi was like the only one he didn't.
That means we could get Gaia.
Yeah, but do we want though? But do we want it though?
I mean, no. I would like it, but it's not necessary.
I'd rather have JENOVA. I'm personally, I'm kind of fiending for JENOVA in Kingdom Hearts. I don't know about y'all. There you go. Next question. How you feeling about that?
You mean JENOVA in Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, JENOVA in Kingdom Hearts.
It would be interesting, I guess, but I don't know how they would weave that in.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold up. I'm going to search it up right now. But as I'm searching, Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts does not have the cat slit eyes, does he?
I don't know if it's like detailed enough to tell.
I hope it is, because I just thought of something like, wait a minute. All right, Sephiroth, Kingdom Hearts, HD zoom. See full size image.
Kind of flat.
Okay, that gets blurry as I try to get in there.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
Oh, okay. I think I have an image. No. All right.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Mm.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Now I'm second guessing myself. He had the cat eyes in the original 7?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I'm sorry, guys. I just hijacked the stream with this very, very important question. Hold on. Guys, this is important. Hold on. All right. Wait, here we go. He did. Wait. Yes, he did. Okay. All right, there. So, sidebar, y'all think that the cat eyes is a JENOVA trait, or?
I mean, I guess.
I'm sorry. I just threw this the fifth dimension, y'all. I just threw this really random question at y'all, but do you think?
I mean, the cat eyes, they never really explained it, right?
Right.
But I assume it has something to do with whatever JENOVA cells that he was injected with, and change his genetic composition when he was born or whatever. But I don't think they addressed that yet. But what's the connection with the cat eye? Like, you're saying that
oh no, because I was doing the whole tangent, all right, JENOVA, Sephiroth, if JENOVA's gonna show up in Kingdom Hearts, but then I'm like, wait a minute, because JENOVA was controlling Sephiroth for the good chunk of Final Fantasy 7, but then I was thinking about Sephiroth's design in Kingdom Hearts. I'm like, wait a minute, he doesn't have the cat eyes, right? The cat pupils, and I'm like, I always thought that was some like a byproduct of him being injected with JENOVA cells. So I'm like,
right,
because I was always the idea is oh, maybe he carried JENOVA with him the whole time in Kingdom Hearts. But I mean, in Kingdom Hearts, the lore is that Sephiroth is the embodiment of Cloud's darkness. But then we know that Cloud was injected with JENOVA cells during Crisis Core, and I'm like.
Right.
I'm sorry, I just went off a whole ass other tangent. I'm just I was like, can JENOVA show up in Kingdom Hearts? And if she does, it'll just show up. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
So
I mean, yeah, we interesting, but I don't think that would happen. Just because of I think they want to make it limited to Kingdom Hearts IPs and Disney IPs for the bosses and stuff, especially.
Right.
Yeah, because I don't recall any boss in Kingdom Hearts 3 or earlier that was from a different IP, except for Sephiroth.
And then these don't really count, but Union Cross had Heartless that were based on Kefka and Gilgamesh, but those don't count because they're Heartless,
They're Heartless, yeah. It's just inspiration.
Mm.
Isn't the Behemoth of Final Fantasy?
Yeah,
it's not really a boss. But...
Yeah, well, no, Behemoth was a boss at certain points in Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah,
and then
Behemoth,
Heartless, that was obviously based on Behemoth, the Behemoth in Final Fantasy.
I mean, it could just be the Behemoth in lore, right?
True.
It doesn't have to be Final Fantasy related, because I mean that's where they draw from their inspiration too. So
right, and then we had all the sporadic Final Fantasy bosses, in Colosseums. We had Cloud, Squall, Yuffie.
Yes, right.
Wait, Cloud, Squall, Yuffie.
Yeah, Yuffie,
that was it.
Yeah.
Were those the only ones that you fought against? I thought there was a 4-person boss fight in the Hades Cup. And Tifa, there you go. What am I saying? Tifa, there you go. Yeah, Squall, Tifa, Yuffie, and Cloud. But I mean, those are friendly fights, you're not killing, you're not fighting them to kill. But it's funny because I feel that the exploration of other types of lore, I feel okay, here, let me restructure this. I feel a really big draw to the mysticism and the mystique and the love of Kingdom Hearts is not only its own compartmentalized story, like the main story, like, okay, the battle between light and darkness, the Keyblade Wars, all that stuff, but also the exploration of the other stories that help enrich Sora's understanding, or whoever you're playing as, the understanding of the main story. And those other stories get derived from the Disney films, from the Square Enix properties. And then for the Square Enix properties, they're constantly fluctuating on how much they want to explore, right? For the Final Fantasy 8 and 7 people, they explore their original aspects only so much. There's a connection between Cloud and Sephiroth, a connection between Cloud and Tifa. And then, Squall had that one letter at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, and that was interesting. But then we have a character like Auron that I feel, out of all the Final Fantasy characters, is incredibly the closest incarnation to his original incarnation, because when you tap into his memories, you hear all that stuff that happened in 10, and then when he finally leaves at the end of the game, he dissipates into fireflies. I'm like, this is straight out of 10. Like, what? But then you look at okay, let's look at the other people from 10. We have Tidus and Waka on the Destiny Islands, and you have Yuna and the rest of them as pixies. I'm like, okay, it's all over the place. So
there's a lot of inspiration, I feel. And I mean, yeah, I think Kingdom Hearts 4, if they were to use the Final Fantasy characters, it would just be what we saw in the Remind DLC, kind of bare minimum, honestly.
Man, I really don't want that though.
Yeah, I know. I want them
Probably
to have more prevalence. Yeah, but I feel like just because there's so many characters now, and if Missing Link is going to introduce even more characters, it's kind of hard to have them all at the same time. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
But then, my main argument against that is that, and Nomura kind of hints at it ever so much, and then how we see Kingdom Hearts 4 being presented is that, yeah, we have a ton of established characters, but how many of them are going to return in 4? Nomura's I don't know about all these characters that you're talking about, Roxas, Shion, Aqua, Terra. I don't know if they're going to be back in 4, and I get it. And I wouldn't be mad if it turned out that way. I wouldn't be mad, because this is we come back to Sora's story where he's in a new world and he has to find his way out. Kind of I don't know if you either of you has ever played God of War 4.
No.
Okay, so the TLDR for God of War 4 is that after the God of War games, he basically did his spiel in Greece, but now he's in Norway. And then, even though this takes place afterwards, it's a fresh start with him doing meeting fresh new people in a fresh new world and stuff like that. And that's why I constantly say Kingdom Hearts 4 is kind of like God of War 4 for the series, right? Mm-hmm. He's now in a completely different world, and he has to find his way through this without Roxas, without Riku's on his way, and Kairi, we don't know if Kairi's going to show up, but without Roxas, without Terra, without Aqua, without Ventus, without Axel, Shion, the rest of them. So, I feel that that's a really good, way to explore the avenue of possibly bringing more Final Fantasy or more characters that we haven't really talked about. Because the ones we know off rip that have been in Kingdom Hearts games or games before is Sora, Strelitzia, Lost Masters, Donald Goofy, and that's it. And honestly, Yozora, Luxord, Mage, Aegis, beyond that, I feel it's just a coin flip. Who are they going to show up? Who's going to show up, or who are they going to incorporate?
Yeah.
Because I don't know about y'all, but I'm personally vying for Kadaj, Laz, and Yazoo. I said that right? Yeah, Yazoo. I always mess up Yazoo's name. It's Yazoo or Yuzu?
Yeah, Yazoo. Yeah.
Yazoo. All right. Kadaj, Laz, and Yazoo. I'm honestly banking on them to show up. Please.
That would be pretty sick.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, with that being said, we're kind of over the 2 hour time. I don't know if I'm keeping y'all too long, because if y'all want, I could wrap it up around now.
Oh, yeah, I actually have a lunch in about 25 minutes.
Oh, so, absolutely. We're doing it. All right, yeah. We're doing that. So, ladies and gentlemen, actually, before I do that, closing thoughts. let's talk like closing thoughts. I'm gonna throw the ball over to Audrey and Sarah. Closing thoughts. Kingdom Hearts. How are y'all feeling on the idea of us getting either a lot more information or renewing the hype when it comes to Missing Link possibly releasing or Kingdom Hearts 4 getting another trailer this year? How are you feeling? Is it gonna happen or not? Audrey, I'll let you go first.
Okay. Well, okay. If we take into consideration that FF7 Part 3, remake Part 3 is going to come out, let's say within 3 years, that will be 2027, right? Like around 2027. Like Tussie said something like it could be earlier, it could be faster, but like I'm guessing 3-year mark makes more sense. But like 2027, let's say, that means that 2020 to this year, 2025 and 26. At the moment, we don't really know what's coming out aside from Dawn Trail that's coming out this year, right? So
Dawn Trail.
I'm hoping that maybe 2025 or 2026 we'll have Kingdom Hearts, because Kingdom Hearts 4, because there needs to be some kind of big like hard hitter, right, for each year for Square Enix. So I'm hoping within the next 2 years, because that would mean that Kingdom Hearts 4 would be in production for like I guess 4 years, since it's been 2 years since that trailer came out, right? So hopefully.
I'm honestly thinking more than hopefully, because I mean, like, I always have the philosophy of Final Fantasy, like, whether people like it or not, Final Fantasy does like cross over a lot with Kingdom Hearts fans in terms of the fandom, in terms of the communities of like possibly buying or like cannibalizing each other in terms of either sales or hype or news cycles or whatnot. But then I also think that it could be nuanced to a point where, like, okay, 14 and 16, they're headed by Yoshi P rather than Nomura, but at the same time, it's like, oh man, how many casual fans or hardcore-ish fans really care about that, you know, type of not nonsense, but that type of nuance when it comes to that. So, like, I do understand, like, the whole Dawn Trail aspect, but I mean, Dawn Trail is coming soon, because, like, Yoshi P was like, all right, you have 1 week after Elden Ring comes out. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so I mean, like, bro, Elden Ring is hype, 5x14 is hype. We're getting this big expansion that's after Endwalker, which was like, come on, it's called Endwalker. And now we have the next thing after that. Crazy. So, despite all that, in the past, we've seen Square Enix and other companies, you know, talk about multiple things at once. So that's why I'm hoping that Kingdom Hearts, in terms of 4 and Missing Link, will be talked about, since that Rebirth and the Rising Tide is out on the bout. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. But in that aspect, I want to throw the ball over to Sarah. What do you think on the whole idea, like, Kingdom Hearts this year, we're going to be back or nah?
I think we're back with Missing Link. Kingdom Hearts 4, I definitely... I feel like we will at least... You know what? I kind of think we're due for a trailer. That's just my opinion. Yeah. I'm not, like... I don't really care either way. Like, I'm not going to say, like, oh, rush it. Give us a trailer. Like, I just... Because I'm just... You know, do your thing. Like, do whatever you guys need to do with your development, whether you want to start promoting it or not. I'm cool with either. I definitely think the hype is back, though, at the very least, with Missing Link. Like, I've just, like, noticed that when Kingdom Hearts 3 was giving us a whole bunch of trailers, people were upset. And then now I feel like those same people are like, why are they leaving us in the dark?
Right? It's like everyone's like they show too much, and then now, like, where is it? I'm like, you're saying they show too much. What do you mean? Like,
no one can be happy ever. But I definitely think we're due for some hype. That's whatever that may be.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
100%.
I miss it.
I feel like it's honestly any day now, and I'm looking at Summer Game Fest.
I think so. No, I think so too.
Yeah, if not Summer Games, Tokyo Game Show.
Oh yeah. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for coming out to another explosive episode of The Fifth Dimension. And honestly, thank you so much to the amazing guests we had here, Audrey and Sarahkey. I'm gonna throw the ball over to them first. Audrey, let them know where they can find you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm Audrey. I'm CEO of Aitai Japan. We own Aitai Kuji. If you want to buy anime and video game merchandise, You can check us out on our website, aitaikuchi.com. I'm also on Twitter a lot and on Twitch streaming sometimes as Aitai Kimochi. And on Twitter, I translate a bunch of video game, anime IPs that interest me. And at the moment, my fixations are like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. So if you want to learn more about FF7 Rebirth's Ultimania, I'm currently like going through stuff like that, translating various trivia from the book and so forth. So yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Awesome. And make sure you follow her. And if you're going to get anything from Aitai Kuji, use code HMK for a discount.
For sure.
Please. And once again, last but not least, fellow key keeper Sarah from Sarahkey, let them know where they can find you. I'm about to say send you.
Hello. Yep, I'm Sarahkey. You can find me on YouTube or Twitch. I make content on video games. I make Kingdom Hearts content whenever there's a lot of hype and stuff like that, but I've been trying to get back into it because I miss it a lot. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm basically just like a fangirl who gets excited about things and cries a lot. So
you enjoy like being emotional.
Yeah.
Like nice. I love that.
Let your emotions run wild. So be sure to follow her. And of course, it's your boy HMK. You can find me at all things HMK. I stream a lot, YouTube a lot, and all stuff. And the Fifth Dimension is not only a podcast, but it's also a Twitch team that I run, and in that aspect, we're gonna go throw the love over to Smelly Octopus, another awesome member of the community and member of the Fifth Dimension. And after this episode, you'll be able to find all episodes going live on Spotify throughout the week for the first time ever, finally. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here, and as always, be brave, dive deep, and enter the Fifth Dimension. We will check you guys later.